This the A3 house, and they love how we do it. We call it this versus that, now let's get into it. Age is the best, you know we always getting lit. No meaning with the argument. Sports, philosophy, games, astronomy, school, biology, dreams, ecology, nature, psychology, math, technology. Everything's a topic when you tune in at A3.
Yo, we back with another This and That podcast. Today I'm here with Muhammad, Daniel, and Raphael, Mr. H at the controls, and me, Hatham, your host. Before we get started, we have a word from our sponsors with Muhammad.
Yo, this is Muhammad. This is brought to you by Patriot Period. Here's why you should sign up for Patriot Period. Patriot Period is offering 40 minutes of extra help for free. Now you may say, but I'm doing good in classes, I don't need or want to see my teacher again. Well, guess what? You also get to choose from hundreds of activities you can do in the categories of enrichments, clubs, events, and much more, even hanging out with your friends. Sign up for Patriot Period before 10:30 and avoid getting drafted. Alright, back to your boy Hatham.
Thank you, Muhammad, for that word from our sponsors. In today's debate, we got first up is, do you think we were created from evolution, which is the science side of this argument, or do you think a higher power created us, which is the religion / God part of this argument? So we got first up, who wants to talk?
Alright, so I'll be speaking first. Personally, I believe in God, but specifically, I'm going to speak about Islam because I'm personally a Muslim and I don't want to speak about, other religions that, I don't know much about and I don't really believe in. Now, I'm going to start this off with, what I think about God. If you introduce a religion to me and you told me that there's some flying guy in the air, controlling everything, or there's some rock that we made and he, has control over everything, that's not gonna work. Nobody's gonna believe that. That's, in my opinion, I think that's nonsense. Personally, I look after facts and I relate it to science. So before we start this, I just want to ask you guys if you agree that for creation, who do you think knows the most about a specific creation? Do you think it's the people that have it or the person who actually created it? What do you guys think?
Person who created it, obviously, because that's the owner and they know the most stuff about it, I guess. And I don't know about the owner, but they're the founder, I guess.
Mm-hmm. But you eventually figure it out, If you own it, you eventually figure it out. And this is why I believe in Islam, because we have the Quran, which is our holy book, and that's where basically we get all our information. And it's crazy because most modern things we're learning today is based off the Quran. It was written 1400 years ago, which is crazy. They knew nothing back then. They believed the earth was flat back then. I'm not sure. And basically the Quran had all these facts about life, about geography, about astronomy, about everything. That's why I believed in that book. I mean, I pulled up some facts right here about our book that talks about all the facts that were written back then and are just now being discovered. First fact right here, you got origin of life. I'm going to quote this from the Quran, but it's translated to English. We made every living thing from water. Will they not believe? And if you think about it, if you read science articles and all that, they're just now discovering this. They're just now saying that our start was water. But it's not really water. It's the one who created water. And it tells you who created water in the book that was written 1400 years ago. And there's many facts, but I'm not going to take too long explaining it at all. I'm just going to, I just have a list of certain facts that are clear for everyone. Another fact is iron. People believe that iron was just in earth, It was just an element that we had in earth until recently they found out that iron was actually sent from us from the sky. And in our book, in the Quran, just think about it, 1400 years ago, there it's written, we sent down iron with its great inherent strength and its many benefits for humankind. That's just clear right there, Another quote is, let me just pull it up right there. We made the sky a protective ceiling, and yet they are turning away from our signs. and people are just now figuring out that the sky plays a crucial role in protecting the earth. The sky protects the earth from the lethal rays of the sun and stuff. And, all that was just written like hundreds of years ago. What else? And here's another quote from the Quran. And it is we who have built the universe with power and keep expanding it. Now I'm just gonna highlight this part of it, keep expanding it. Like very, very recently, scientists have been switching, they instead of believing in science, they started becoming religious because of that specific thing. Keep expanding it. People just now discovered that the universe actually never stops and it keeps expanding. And this is why I believe in religion, because I'm not just believing in some guy flying around, controlling everything. I'm believing in something that's related to science, something that was figured out hundreds of years ago. The creator knows about his creation, and people are just now figuring this out. And that's why I believe in religion personally.
Well, I mean, I can't really. I mean, I can understand how human beings want to have a reason for why they're here. But, saying that we created the earth. I mean, when you're saying we, who is the we referring to? Was it gods or was
God? It's God. But he's so great that he relates to himself as we instead of I.
Okay. I mean, I just don't see any evidence for a creator. I mean, everything is natural. I mean, everything. Look at the world around us. You have 5 senses, right? That's the only way we can interact with this world. I can smell, I can touch, I can taste, I can see, I can hear. Like, where is my God sense? Like, if there's a God, then where is my God sense to detect God? Every day I wake up, I know for sure that I'm hungry. My stomach tells me I'm hungry. I know every day that my eyes say, hey, the sun is up. You can see that. Right now I'm listening to you. I can hear. But I don't wake up and say, oh, you know what? I'm God hungry right now. I just need to take a bite out of the God sandwich. There can't be a God because there's nothing in me that tells me that there's a God kind of, like I said, hunger. There's nothing in me that would make me want to even seek. So how do you explain that there's a God, but everything else in our creation, our nature, doesn't provide any evidence of that?
Okay, I can see where you're coming from, but like at first, when we first started this off, we agreed that any creation, the person who knows best about it is the creator. And when I'm pointing out these facts that were written 1,400 years ago, that no one would believe, back then. Like if I went up to someone and told someone that plants have a heartbeat, are they gonna believe me? Absolutely not. They're gonna think it's nonsense. But now people are discovering it, and now people think it's all science. Like it was written, the creator told you all this, and like based off facts, I say, hey, this he has the facts. He knows everything, and this is why I should believe in him, because he told us things that we didn't know for 1,400 years until now. So he must be the creator for knowing all these facts. You can't even if you're just a genius, you can't know all these things. The fact that there is such power that knows all these facts about our creation means he is the creator.
Oh no, it's kind of hard to believe in someone writing the Quran when you can't even point that person out. You feel?
But the signs he made, the signs he made for us to believe in him. I mean,
I feel like someone else just wrote the book.
But
because that science can be proven, but by our science now.
Okay, so someone else wrote the book. That someone must have been a really, really smart person for his facts to be proven 1,400 years later. For him to know something 1,400 years ahead in the future.
Yeah, but what the core you got now, when was that made? I bet you didn't get that thousands of years ago.
It is the only book that hasn't been changed. And it was written 1,400 years ago.
I mean, you're saying there's signs, but what signs Give me the signs. Show me the signs. You're saying there's signs that point to the creator. Give me specific signs. Is literally a sign on the side of the road. It's like, God, this way. Like, if God is so real, how come he doesn't just show himself? You know, if he is so real, like, okay, if I'm a parent, right? And then I have my child, I'm not going to go hide in the room from my child. And then, you know, when they're 5, be like, oh, have faith that I was upstairs the whole time. I let you live downstairs, but your dad was like, that's cruel. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're God, why don't you just show up from the start? Like, here I am, face to face. I made you. I love you. But no, if God is real, he would be in our face. So show me, what are the signs? Why do I need signs to him to show me?
Well, I can see where you're coming from. It's kind of hard, you know, to believe in something you don't really see. But he is, like, uncreated, and he is the creator. He's just great, like, too great for us to ask for such things, you know? Like, he has made the universe for us.
It's just hard to say that without no proof. You just bringing us back to a book, and that book is just a book, just words.
But that book is telling you everything about the universe that we didn't know for
Tells you how to
1,400
live
years.
life. It tells you, it is basically like telling us how to live our lives, and it has not been proven wrong.
Now, I have a question for you. So, like, I can see where you're coming from, you know? Why isn't he, you know, just coming out and telling us that he's God? But can you, like, answer this question for me? Can you explain to me how a book that was written 1,400 years ago, like, it's crazy to think about that number, you know? People were just nonsense back then. They didn't know anything about life. And that book has stuff that we are just now discovering, like facts, like absolute facts that were written 1,400 years ago, and we're just now figuring these facts out. Like, who wrote this book? Who's that intelligent to know things that are discovered 1,400 years later?
I mean, I think since time began, there's always been, okay, look at our society now. Look, we're talking into microphones. We got computers. We got the internet. Like you're saying, there was a point in time where no one could even imagine we'd be where we are. But at that time, there was still some version of an artist, a philosopher, a storyteller, a scientist. Even if it was primitive, they were trying the best they could. Like 1,000 years from now, somebody's going to look back and be like, oh, you guys only had the internet? Like, that's so weak.
Fact.
You know, they're going to be like, we can fly now. We can teleport. So at that time, I'm sure there was somebody who was creative enough or smart enough to write down some stuff where everybody was like, oh, wow, this is so cool. Like the same way you turn on a song right now by Travis Scott or Trippie Redd, and you're like, oh, yo, this dude is, the lyrics, like they had Socrates' version as Trippie Redd, and it was like, oh, yo, this dude knows the universe mysteries. So I'm sure at that time, some artist or philosopher or creative person was smart enough to write something that could, like, explain the world to people. You know, they were smart enough to, even if they didn't know it was called iron at the time, or they didn't know it was called gold or whatever, gravity, they still referred to it as the big heavy god or something. You know, they had to give it some name. And just now science, you know, with science we're more smart. We can give it actual names now. We call it iron, we call it gold, we call it magnesium. They just had a different way to explain it. So when you say how do people know this stuff ahead of time, I think humans have always been the same on some level. They always been the same on some level.
So I got an analogy. I don't know if it's a good one, but I just got an analogy. So say, you know, you play video games, you're having fun in that game. You're having fun in that game. And when you're playing that game, like, you know, you have that thought of, like, you're controlling your character or whatever, you're doing something. And and when you're controlling that character, you can't go in that video game. You can't, like, appear in that video game and become, like, part of that video game. Maybe it's, like, the same thing with God. Maybe he can't enter our world because he literally can't. I don't know. That's just what I'm thinking. Like, it might be a bad analogy, but from what my thinking leads towards that. It's like he physically can't because he's not, like, he just physically can't. And that's why he can't show himself, and that's why maybe, like, do you believe in the afterlife? Like, do you think there is a life after we've passed on and we go somewhere, hell or heaven?
I don't know. That's hard to say. Like everyone like that has died can't tell us. So I don't know. I feel like it's just black.
I mean, yeah, it's a question that no one can answer, obviously, because none of us can go and come back. But I feel like if we are just made of carbon and atoms, that's it. Like, it's over. Like, there's afterlife? No, there's no afterlife. It's over.
All right, so a few things. So you asked me why God won't show himself. Like, why won't he just come down and tell us that he's God and, basically, like, just show us who he really is. But here's why. All this, like, this life is pretty much a test for your afterlife. This isn't it, This is just a test to get there. And he made all these signs for you to try and figure out who he is, for you to believe within your heart that he exists without him showing you that he's there. What's the point of taking the test if the teacher's going to show you the answers? Scoring?
So you're saying this is one big SOL? Life is one big SOL?
One big final.
Life is a big test to see if you're going to believe or not, to see if you're one of the good or not.
Depending on the deeds you do and if you pray and if you believe, that ultimately leads to your score.
I think it's kind of unfair if he is real, he doesn't come down because there's many different religions. And he's just trying to say that his is the best.
But he gave you the signs. He gave you the book that has, so far, 80% of the Quran has been proven right. And 20%, it's not wrong, but it's not figured out yet. Okay? When you got a book that's telling you 80%, that 80% of it is right, okay? And basically, like, the meaning of life, every single thing that happened in life, astronomy, geography, everything, geology, everything, the 20% is most likely going to be true. Like, most likely going to be true. If 80% of it, like, that covers everything in life is proved to be right. So, right now, it's telling you those 20% includes heaven, it's including hell, it's including God. Why won't you believe in those 20% when the majority is already proven right and this is yet to be discovered? Like, this is in the process of being discovered.
I don't know. There's a lot of different, like the Korah and the Bible. I feel like it's kind of similar, cause like the Korah kind of talks about Jesus being a prophet, right? And then I don't know. When I think of Jesus, I think of the Bible, and then right there, how can it be like two different books?
I see where you're coming from. So, who knows the original language for Bible? Who knows what it is? It's Hebrew, Greek. How many people speak Hebrew or Greek in here? It's been changed to English, right? You see where I'm coming from, right? The Bible has been changed many times, and many countries has been changing some words out. They've been taking out sentences, they've been taking out stories. So it is not the original. While in the Quran, there has been requests from countries to remove verses that they don't like and stuff. And it is the only book that we refuse to change it. There's no way we're changing it. Then it won't be true anymore. And that's what makes Quran special, because it hasn't been changed. As for the Bible, it changed many times. Personally, as Muslims, we believe in Christianity and Jews as well. We believe in the same God, but the Bible has been changed many times that it doesn't really, in my opinion, I don't want to offend anybody, it doesn't really have the same meaning of life. It doesn't have the same facts. Like Jesus in our eyes is a prophet, and we really respect him. In fact, he's mentioned more than Muhammad in the Quran. But in the Bible, some people consider him as God. Some people consider him as Son of God. But keep in mind, God is the most powerful thing. He is not, he's not going to be affected by life. He's not going to be hurt. He's not going to suffer. And in my opinion, Jesus can no way be God. He is a holy person that is a prophet of God sending the message. But God cannot be hurt or damaged at all.
I mean, I guess that's the other problem I have is, like Raph was saying, all right, if God is God, right? He's like the creator. He knows everything. He's perfect, like you're saying, he can't be hurt. He's the smartest being in
He's the most
existence.
powerful. He's God.
Yeah, he is. He's like the perfect version of everything you want,
Yep. And he loves us.
and he loves us.
Yep.
Then why didn't he make it easy? Why did he allow all this community? It's Jesus, it's Muhammad, it's Buddha, it's Krishna, it's Shiva, it's like all these gods. I'm like, man, if I was a parent, I'm not even a perfect person. But I know if I was a parent and my child came to me and said, Daddy, what's the difference between like a dog and a cat? I would be like, okay, I'm gonna make this very simple for you, son, daughter. A dog is more furry and, has longer ears most of the time. A kitten usually is, sharp claws, has like pointy ears, kind of like a lion or whatever. I would make it very easy, like a kindergartner book, because I would be like, they're too young to try to understand all this. I would make it very simple. Or I wouldn't have like 5 men in my house and be like, which one is your dad? Like they'd be like, Dad, who's the real dad? I'd be like, well, there's only one. It's me. It's very clear. So why is it that God, if God is so love and perfect and kind and all this stuff, is so confusing? Like, why is it? You're saying like, okay, I get what Hatham's saying. He's saying it sounds like an avatar. He can't enter. He's God. But if you're gonna want people to serve you and worship you and love you or respect you, like, how do you expect humans to do that if you don't make it easy? If you don't just say, hey guys, this is the simple, I'm God.
One religion.
Yeah, one religion. Why didn't come down one time, say, hey everybody, this is like a big, like a grand opening celebration. Like throw a big party. Hey everybody, this is God Day. Just coming to introduce myself. How you doing? God, nice to meet you. God, shake hands. Just so you can see my face. Okay, this is who I am. Now I'm gonna go back to my house. And then I'd be cool. I'd be like, all right, he introduced himself. I know how to find him. I know where to go. There's no confusion now. But you can't blame me for being confused if there's so many options.
I don't blame you, but it's your job to eliminate those options. I mean, he has made it very clear. I personally don't find it hard when you got facts that are written right there. If let's say I'm not, there's many facts, but I'm just gonna focus on a specific one because it's very clear. Okay, if he's saying the universe is expanding and people figure that out 1400 years later, okay, and he's saying that he's God and he knows everything and everything he wrote is proven, like is correct, isn't that clear enough that this is God? He knows his creation. Isn't that clear enough? And can you not eliminate? It's very easy to eliminate, hey, this is a rock that a human made. Or, hey, he's claiming to be God, but he's getting beat up every day. He's getting hurt every day. It's very common sense. Like, it's easy to eliminate those and focus on what's real.
Okay, you say it's very easy. Look at okay, this is the problem with religion, right? Religion is always like, oh, it's just so easy. Open up the book and look, It's reading Rainbow. Take a look. It's in a book. It's reading Rainbow. I could write a book today. It was like, okay, first Hankins 1 and 1. The universe was formed by matter. Like it's just like watching Transformers or something. The guy who wrote Transformers could write a Bible, put his name on it, and then say, believe this. Like, why do I need to believe your book? I could write a book. Give me evidence.
But is it gonna have right facts? Is it gonna have facts that are right?
Yeah, I just look outside. Look, this is all religious people do. They go out, they look at nature, they go, oh, okay, there's trees.
And they say the universe is expanding.
No, they just
by
find
going out.
They just find a different, like, they just phrase it differently.
Right.
Hold on. So you're telling me you can go outside and, just look at the sky, say the universe is expanding, say that mountains were made by colliding together, like land colliding together, and you can go outside, say that plants have heartbeat. You can say that, just go outside and say that we were created from water. You can just do that? You think anybody can just go outside and figure all these out?
No, this is what happens, though. This is what happens. The religious people, they follow science. The scientist says the universe is expanding, so the religious person goes, ooh, okay, shh, the universe is expanding because God stretched his hands out. The science says, okay, well, iron is this, and the religious person says, ooh, there's a man called Iron Man, and he flew from another planet, and he came to Earth to rescue you. Like, all religion is doing is stealing from science. It takes what science has told you and tries to put a cool spin on it. It's like a good movie.
This has been part 1 of the Religious and Science This and That podcast. For more, tune in to part 2 where we continue our conversation.
This the A3 house, and they love how we do it. We call it this versus that. Now let's get into it. AH's the best, you know we always getting lit. No meaning with the argument. Sports, philosophy, games, astronomy, school, biology, dreams, ecology, nature, psychology, math, technology. Everything's a topic when you tune in at A3.